In the main event of One Fight Night 16, Jonathan Haggerty made his triumphant return to the iconic Lumpinee Boxing Stadium in Bangkok. 7 months after his jaw-dropping first-round knockout of Nong-O Hama, where he seized the one bantamweight Muay Thai World Championship, Haggerty once again stepped into the spotlight for another unforgettable night. This time, he stepped into the ring eyeing the vacant one bantamweight kickboxing title. His formidable opponent, Fabricio Andrade, the reigning one bantamweight MMA champion, determined to etch his name in the history books as the first fighter to simultaneously hold titles in both kickboxing and mixed martial arts. Jonathan Haggerty is a smart fighter. He likes to stay far away from his opponent. He uses fast jabs and light kicks from a distance. He kicks to the head, body, and legs. Haggerty is great at fighting from far away. He used this skill perfectly against Andrade. Andrade tried to get super close to Haggerty, stay tight so Haggerty couldn't kick much. When someone gets too close, Haggerty has to raise his lead leg high to block kicks. This leaves his body and head open for hits. Andrade's plan was to stay right on Haggerty. When Haggerty raised his leg, Andrade could punch his body and head, get inside Haggerty's kicking range by pressing forward, then hit the open targets when the threat of kicks was reduced. When Haggerty threw leg kicks, Andrade had two main reactions. He would either take the kick on his leg guards or he would check the kick by catching it with his shin. Those are normal ways to defend leg kicks in Muay Thai. Andrade did not try to parry or deflect Haggerty's leg kicks. He did not grab the kicks or move away from them either. Since Andrade wanted to keep pressuring forward, he mainly just ate the leg kicks on his guards or checked them firmly. By taking or checking the leg kicks rather than evading them, Andrade could keep applying his forward pressure game plan against the kick-heavy Haggerty. For body kicks from Haggerty, Andrade would try to catch or sweep the kick instead of just blocking. This is risky against a great kicker like Haggerty. Haggerty noticed Andrade's overly aggressive pressure style made him reach for body kicks, so Haggerty set up a trap. He faked low, then threw the high kicks. For Haggerty's high kicks, Andrade didn't parry them properly. Instead of a conventional doubled arm block, he just leaned back to avoid them. Haggerty picked up on this lean back defensive tendency from Andrade. These reactions from Andrade allowed Haggerty to time his high kick. Haggerty threw jabs to see how Andrade would react. Andrade would parry with his rear hand and lean back, which Haggerty saw at 1 minute and 44 seconds of round 1. When Haggerty threw kicks, Andrade would try to catch them. Leg kicks he'd check with his shin, body kicks he'd attempt to grab. Haggerty noticed Andrade's tendencies, parrying jabs with his rear hand and leaning back, catching or sweeping body kicks instead of evading, leaning back to avoid head kicks rather than parrying, keeping a high guard and taking small steps back for combos, checking leg kicks with his shin or eating them on the guards. At round 2, Haggerty threw a 1-2 combo to read Andrade's reaction again. Andrade kept his high guard and took a small step back, trying to pressure forward still. Andrade's plan was to get inside, catch Haggerty's kicks, and use boxing to win up close. But Haggerty was too technical. The swarming pressure style works for elite fighters like Rodtang with his chin, power, and accuracy, but it's very difficult to execute safely against an expert kicker like Haggerty. By round 2, Haggerty had downloaded all of Andrade's defensive tendencies and was setting up his fight-ending combination. In round 2, Haggerty beautifully set up the knockout finish. He switched his stance, making Andrade move backwards, one of Andrade's defensive tendencies Haggerty had scouted. Throwing that stance switch feinted Andrade. Haggerty then threw a 1-2 combo. The 1-2 made Andrade keep his high guard up, another tendency Haggerty knew about. With the 1-2, Haggerty masked that he was starting the combo sequence to set up the knockout head kick. Seconds before landing the knockout blow, Haggerty feinted a high kick first. This made Andrade lean back to avoid it, yet another tendency Haggerty had downloaded during the fight. After feigning the high kick, Haggerty threw another 1-2 combo. The jab was a feint, not meant to land, but the cross was intended to score and let Haggerty read how Andrade defended a 1-2. Andrade leaned back slightly, keeping a high guard for the 1-2. For the fight-ending sequence, Haggerty started with a jab, but this jab was masking that Haggerty was switching his stance to position his rear leg to generate maximum power for a head kick follow-up. The cross after the jab further disguised Haggerty's stance switch from Andrade, who thought it was just another 1-2 combo to defend with his standard lean back. But those feinted strikes hid Haggerty's stance adjustment, creating the perfect angle to unleash the fight-ending head kick when Andrade least expected it. The setup was masterfully deceptive. By baiting Andrade's tendencies from earlier in the fight, Haggerty had the perfect sequence planned. Jab to mask the stance switch, cross to confirm Andrade's defensive lean, then the coup de grace head kick from his newly positioned stance and rear leg power plant. After feigning the high kick, Haggerty threw another 1-2 combination. The jab was not meant to land, but the cross was. This allowed Haggerty to confirm that Andrade would once again lean back slightly with a high guard to defend a 1-2 strike. For the final combination that led to the knockout, Haggerty started with his jab. However, this jab was simply masking that he was switching his stance again to position his rear leg to generate maximum power for a fight-ending head kick follow-up. The cross that Haggerty threw after the jab further disguised a stance switch from Andrade, who thought it was merely another 1-2 combination for him to defend with his typical lean back. But those feinted strikes had completely hidden Haggerty's adjustment of his stance, creating the perfect angle to unleash the fight-ending head kick when Andrade least expected it. The crucial feints that allowed the entire setup was absolutely brilliant. Haggerty threw a feinted teep kick, making Andrade instinctively think a strike was coming low, which caused him to drop his hands in anticipation of catching or parrying a body kick. As Haggerty planted his foot for the stance switch instead of a teep kick, he uncorked the high head kick while Andrade's hands were dropped low, leaving his head completely exposed. Haggerty had masterfully used each and every one of Andrade's pre-scouted defensive tendencies against him through feints and deceptions until the final skull-rattling blow was perfectly disguised and set up. Just before launching the knockout head kick, Haggerty raised his lead leg high, a tendency that Andrade associated with a teep or front kick coming his way. So Andrade instinctively dropped one hand in a parrying position to catch the perceived incoming body strike, leaving the side of his head wide open for Haggerty's fight-finishing head kick to land cleanly. It was a masterfully manufactured setup and sequence using deceptive feints to bait Andrade's tendencies and defensive reactions until the perfectly timed and angled knockout blow could find its mark. Andrade's own habits and movements betrayed him against Haggerty's calculated game plan. In the intense final flurry after the head kick dropped Andrade, Haggerty stayed calm, focused, and technically precise while pouring on punches with accuracy. He skillfully cut off the ring, not allowing Andrade any space as the final 1-2 combination that put Andrade down showed Haggerty's pinpoint execution of even basic fundamental techniques under the most intense circumstances. Overall, Jonathan Haggerty displayed to the world exactly why he's considered one of the most elite, diverse, and cerebral strikers on the planet. His tremendous arsenal of offensive weapons combined with his extremely high ring IQ and ability to quickly download opponents' tendencies and habits allows him to devise brilliant game plans and setups. And his technical prowess along with composure enables him to pull the trigger with precision on those game plans in high-pressure situations.